Let's go into recruiting, okay? And we're going to have a lot of fun with recruiting. And whenever you do a presentation, and this has not only to do with the product, it also has to do with recruiting. You never can pick and choose who's going to be the next star of your Herbalife business, okay? You can never judge that. And it's a little bit sad sometimes because it's very difficult as an individual that when we're looking at someone to not prejudge what and who they are going to become, okay? Sometimes we look at the person that's got a little bit more professional background, they're dressed a little bit more better, they've got a little bit more background in school and this sort of thing, and they seem a little sharper type person, and we think that's going to be the best person. They may be the best person, but they also may not be the best person, okay? You just never know. Okay, because the person who talks the most in Herbalife, okay, is the one who gets the biggest checks. And you don't know who that person's going to be. It could be the housewife, it could be the bartender, it could be someone who's scrubbing toilets for a living, it could be the janitor, it could be the person that does your dry cleaning, and it could be a dental hygienist, and it could be a dairy farmer, and it could be a doctor, and it could be a lawyer. You just never know. So what you got to do, okay, whenever you're going to do a presentation about the products or you're going to do it about the business, here's what you got to do. Don't prejudge anybody. Treat everybody nice, treat everybody with respect, treat everybody equal, no matter who and what they are, okay? No matter what their background is, no matter what their color of skin is, no matter where they come from, what language they speak, it doesn't make any difference, okay? Because we've proven to this point. It was different for me when I got started. Nobody was doing it when I was doing it. Today, everybody's doing it from every single country with every kind of background you can possibly think of. So what you've got to do when you're making your presentation is you've got to do the best presentation you've ever done in your entire life, okay? And then when you get to the next person, you do the best presentation you've ever done in your entire life. So whatever you got to do to get yourself mentally set up and mentally excited about doing your presentation, it needs to be the best, okay? And don't worry, for those of you that are in the back, you're doing your first presentations, don't worry, you'll get better, you'll get better, you'll get better. At a point, you can only get so good. Then all you've got to do is just keep your mental attitude up all the time and make certain that it's the best every single time, because when you meet someone, you just never know who that person's going to be. It could be the next world team, get team, millionaire, or president's team member in your group, okay? So I treat everybody the same, okay, no matter who they are. When we sit down to make their order, okay, and we've recruited them into the company, if they buy 2 bottles, I treat them like they're going to become the next president's team. If they buy $400 worth, I treat them exactly the same. If they buy $4,000 worth, I buy them exactly the same. Because just because they buy more, money's not going to get them to the top position in the company, okay? Working and getting customers and getting more distributors, going wide and going deep with a solid foundation of selling the product, okay, is what's going to get them to the president's team and to have a solid check and a solid future with you. Okay, so I treat everybody just like they're going to go up to the top. And also when you're recruiting, here's the kind of attitude that you want to have, okay? Because a lot of times when people are getting into the recruiting phase from being on the products, they're a lot stronger on getting people on the products than they are the money. The reason for that is you've lost weight a lot quicker than you've made $1 million. So you don't approach people necessarily with that, it's going to happen to you, you're going to get rich, everything's going to happen, it's going to be incredible, and you don't come across as strong with the business as you do the products. Trust me, it's just as easy to get people in the business as it is people on the products. There's millions of people looking for this kind of opportunity to make an extra $2,000 or $3,000, whether it's to take care of their children, put them in a better school, feed them better, or maybe have a decent vacation, or to go on to the top and make $100,000 a year or upwards to $1 million a year like we have some of the president's team making, okay? But when you're approaching people, okay, don't beg the people into the company, okay? Sometimes I see people, you know, they're there and they're talking to someone for 3, 4, 5 hours, and they're begging people to get into their company and stuff like that. Please, please, please get into my business because I'll make some money and stuff like that. No, you got to switch your thinking, okay? Your thinking here is that you're going to do everything to help them get rich, okay? And don't beg them to get into the business. They ought to be begging you to get into this company, okay? Seriously. We got the greatest thing in the world. They should be begging us to get in this company and stuff like that. So here's the kind of attitude that you have, okay, when you're talking to someone about the business. You have the attitude that you're going to get rich and they're going to get rich. So let's just try this out just a little bit here, okay? I want you to turn to the person next to you just real quick. Okay, everybody turn to the person next to you. And I want you to look them square in the eyes, and I want you to say, man, am I glad you got to meet me. Okay, this time we're going to try it as if you believe you're a president, you're going to become a president's team member, and the person that you're talked to is going to become a president's team member. Now look them square in the eyes and say, man, am I glad you got to meet me. That's the attitude. That's the $1 million attitude, see? And when you start feeling that way and you transmit that to the person and they start thinking that way, things become a lot better. And a whole conversation turns to a more serious conversation. Now, I also have the same thing with my distributors that are really on the move. You can't do this with everybody, okay? If you got someone who just says, well, I just want to casually use the products, treat them great. Okay, those are people that will keep using the products at wholesale month after month after month, and maybe that's what they'll do for the rest of their life. Or maybe, you know, down the road here, when you write to them and you say, here, try the flavored teas, they try the teas, and they say, man, if they had had that, I would have done the business. Then they try the business. You just never know. But when you got these little wholesale customers and stuff, treat them like gold. I know it's not much money when you got 1 or 2 of them, but when you're recruiting over the year and you end up with 60, 80, or 100 of these guys, it starts to become the couple of $1,000 difference on your level. But when you have 20 or 30 supervisors and they have 20 or 30 supervisors, it starts to become the $100,000 difference. So treat them like gold. Some of these little things don't sound that important, okay, because they're not that important when you start out. It's after you're here a year and 2 years that these things become monumental things, okay? Now, the same kind of plan I have for doing the business. And this is, again, picking up a habit that you do day after day after day, and it starts to add up. So when you're out there recruiting, we already talked about talking to 10 people a day about the products. We also want to talk to 10 people a day about the business. You want to talk just enough to 10 people a day to invite them down to some place to take a look at the company. Now that place could be your apartment. That place could be at the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday that's going on in the hotel. It could be at the local coffee shop. It could be in their office. It could be in their house. It doesn't make a difference where it takes place, okay? But you're talking to 10 people a day to invite them to go somewhere and hear about the presentation, okay? Now let's say you're only going to do that for 22 days because we're giving you off on the weekends. That's 220 people that you would have invited to come down and take a look, okay? And let's say that you really are terrible, okay? Because I know most people, you invite, how many, most of you get half to come down, right? Okay? Let's say you only get a fourth of the people that come down, because I don't want to say it's going to be that great, okay? And I'm going to show you how this works in a minute. Let's say only 50 people show up at the business opportunity meeting. How many of you, if you had 5 people at the business meeting, would at least sign up 1 out of 5? Okay? Well, everybody. That's what I thought. Okay? So now let's say that out of the 50 people that showed up, you're only signing 1 out of 5, so that gives you 10 first-line distributors a month, and that's what you want to have. Now, maybe every month is not like this, but this is generally the plan of what you want to have happen. And the reason that you want to have this plan is consistency, month after month after month, adds up. And here's what I've basically seen with recruiting 10, okay? And sometimes you get better odds. Sometimes you recruit 10, nobody does it, okay? It's just the way it is. That's why you want to be consistent every month. Sometimes you recruit 10, you get 5 supervisors, okay? But most of the time what happens is 3 or 4 of these are going to be wholesale customers. 3 of them will drop out, they won't do anything. And then a couple of them will become what I call the hot distributors, okay? And they say, listen, just tell me what to do, I'll do anything that you say, I want to go. I love everything that I've seen here and stuff, okay? But I want to get back to this plan here just for a second, because you've gotten 10 first-line distributors. We're talking about 2 people that would be hot that would become supervisors. So if you've gotten 2 supervisors during the month, if you did that for 12 months, that would be 24 supervisors. Now we go back to your customer list. Remember, you had 50 customers, okay? Out of 50 customers, I promise you, at least 6 of them will become supervisors, okay? So now you've got another 6 supervisors out of your retail base, which is giving you 30 first-line supervisors for the year. So if you stuck to the 10 plan on talking to people about the product and 10 people a day about the business, you will have at least made $50,000 or more on this the very first year. So 30 first-line supervisors, and you got your 50 customers, and that's made your first year minimum $50,000 or more, okay? But now let's check out what happens the next year. Next year you get another 30 first lines, okay, because you've gotten your 24 by recruiting 10. You've also gotten 50 more customers, so 6 more become supervisor from your customer base. So now you've got 30 from last year, and you got 30 supervisors from this year. That's 60 first line supervisors. One thing that's great about Herbalife is everything is a percentage of everything. In other words, when you go out there and you're talking to people, okay, a certain percentage of the people that you talk to are going to say no. A certain percentage of the people are going to say yes. A certain of the percentage of the people that say yes, that get into the company, are going to drop out. A certain percentage of the people that get in are going to be wholesale customers. A certain percentage of the ones that get in are going to become supervisors. Then when you start getting supervisors, a certain percentage of those supervisors, they're going to get onto the world team. A certain percentage of the people that get onto the world team are going to become on the get team. A certain percentage of people that get onto the get team are going to get onto the millionaire team. And a certain of the ones that get onto the millionaire team are going to get onto the president's team. Okay? So let's say that out of these 60 first line supervisors, that only 5 get onto the world team. And then let's say that only 2 get onto the get team and 1 person gets onto the millionaire team. Now, as a sponsor, you make about 75% of what your first lines make, okay? So if we take up what these guys are making, and you get 75% of that. So first of all your guys have had to make lots of money. That's one of the great things about Herbalife. If they make money, you make money. The more money they make, the more money you make. That's a great thing. That's not the way it is in the typical business world. But if you got 60 first-line supervisors and only 5 got the world team, 2 got to get, and 1 got the millionaire, you just qualified for president's team, and you will have made at least $125,000 for that year. Minimum. Minimum. For just talking to 10 people a day about the products and 10 people a day about the business. That's why in the beginning you have to fantasize about what's going to happen to you. And that's easier to do today than it was when I got started. Because when I was talking about all of us becoming multi-millionaires, I'd only made $1,200 that first month in the company. And I was pitching everybody that we were going to get rich and we were going to be an unbelievable company and we were going to go all around the world, and I've only made $1,200. And then when I made $2,300, I was really crazy. I said, look at this, my check doubled, we're on our way, it's just unbelievable, we're going to get rich, right? And then it went to $5,000, and then I was even crazier than that. But right from the beginning, everything was always unbelievable. It was just going to be incredible. No doubt about it. Everything was going to be unbelievable. And sure, there was times I had doubts. Sure, there was times where meetings didn't work out for me, where most of the people didn't show up, or most of the customers didn't show up and stuff like that. But I just kept doing it day after day after day after day. Okay, now, one of the things that was so great about this for me was a couple of things. I was able to get my distributors being honest with themselves about the reality of what was going to happen to them, okay? Because sometimes people have all these incredible expectations and then they don't do the job. Let's talk now about our daily method of operation, okay? Because for me, it was real important to have a system, okay, that my people could plug into that would be a support system for them, okay? And that's where I came up with the concept of doing meetings on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Now, there's no magic in these days, okay? There's a lot of times when I come to Asia, they're wondering if, is there a certain mysticism about, why Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday? No, it could just as well be Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. It could be every day of the week. It could be all kinds of things. For me, the reason why I was Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday is I always wanted to get lots of people down to the opportunity meeting. Then I wanted to leave a day for the people that were hot. I wanted to go out and work with them all day long to recruit underneath them to bring them to the next meeting so that they were successful. Okay, so I always was leaving me a day in between so I could work my downline, and I'll talk about how we do that in just a minute, okay? But the opportunity meeting, why did I do opportunity meetings, okay? I could have set people down one-on-one. Would that work? Of course, okay? One of the great things about Herbalife is anything will work, okay? The question is how fast it works, how quick it works for you, and more importantly, how quickly it works for the people that you get in, okay? And so I was always interested in fast, okay? So the opportunity meeting was set up for me to invite people all day long and get them down to the opportunity meeting, and that way I could do all 8 or 9 people that I had gotten during the day that came to the opportunity meeting. I could pitch them in 1 hour instead of spending 7 hours to do it. Okay, and so that was really the goal. The second reason why I like doing it at the opportunity meeting is that's where I had my testimonials and my other people that had their incomes. Not that my testimonial wasn't impressive enough and my income wasn't impressive enough, but see, I'm not enough, and I know that. You see, what you want to have in an opportunity meeting is as many people as humanly possible talking. Okay, and that's why I'm not doing all this meeting completely by myself. That's why we have other people talk about doing the retail. That's why we have other people doing the recruiting. That's why we're going to bring up the GET team. That's why we're going to bring up the Millionaire team. Because the more people that you can hear from, and the more different backgrounds you hear, and the more different circumstances, and where they were, and where they came from, and what their first month's income was, and what it is now, the more eyes that you can see, the more somebody, okay, and there's going to be somebody today that you're going to see, that you're going to say, hey, if that person can do it, I can do it. And that's the most important thing that can happen to you in Herbalife. And you never know when that's going to be. It's probably going to be here today. But if it doesn't happen here today, it could be the next STS that you go to. You just never know, okay? But here's the elements of what makes the opportunity meeting exciting, okay? Because a lot of times people get very confused and start thinking that the opportunity meeting is only good if you have someone that's great at doing opportunity meetings, okay? Now, is it great if someone's great and entertaining up on the stage doing an opportunity meeting? Of course, okay? But can someone who's not very good be great on the stage also, as long as they're making some money? Absolutely, okay? And so we're going to show you how that works here, because this will make your next, what is this, Saturday? This will make your next Tuesday night meeting more exciting. All the person that's supposed to do that comes up here, let's say we're just going to do a real quick opportunity meeting right now, okay? All we're going to do is we're going to tell the Mark Hughes story, and then I'm going to talk about the products, and then I'm going to do testimonials. And remember that this is going to take me 25% of my talking, and 75% of the meeting is going to be given by the audience, okay? Because the audience is the biggest one who actually does the meeting, not the person on the stage. The person up on the stage is just there to set up enough information so he can get the testimonials up on the stage. Because the testimonials is what really sells the products. On the marketing plan, I've heard people that say it's an incredible marketing plan, it's just unbelievable, you make 40%, you get royalties, 72% on the retail, just unbelievable, let's have all the testimonials, come on up. Okay, and I've heard people even do less than that. It's unbelievable the money that we make, and let's just have everybody stand up and come up. Okay, and I've also seen people that do a lot of circles and squares and so on. It really doesn't make any difference which one you do, because long story short, they're not going to understand it anyway when you do your very first meeting, by the way. They're not going to understand it until they get around and, you know, filling out their very first paperwork and putting the percentages to it and having to get out their checkbook, okay? So in the marketing plan, you can say a little, say a lot, but just make sure it's 25% here, 75% is on the testimonials. And after that, you stop talking. Okay, because one of the things I've seen with people is, you know, they feel like they got to just keep going on and on and on, right? And then after the meeting's over, then that's really bad. As the supervisor, they try to do a whole meeting all over again. You know what I mean? It's time to stop at a certain point. We just got to tell the products, marketing, testimonials, marketing plan, testimonials. Do you want to do this or not? Okay. Then the next day, get lots more people in. Okay. Got to make it quick, okay? Because what your goal is to talk to as many people as you can so you can get your 2 hot people to start working downline. So understand that the audience is the most important, okay? And that's what makes the meeting sizzle, and that's what makes the meeting go, okay? So I'll just do a short opportunity meeting here, and we'll do some stand up and sit down and see how this thing works. Because how many of you are going to opportunity meetings? Everybody. Okay. So this is important. You're now realizing that you are doing the biggest part of the meeting. Okay? I'm just up here saying a couple of things. Now listen, the name of our company is Herbalife, and it's an incredible business. And it was all started by this young guy named Mark Hughes, who who had an unfortunate thing that happened with his mom. She died from a prescription overdose trying to lose weight on medicines. And Mark Hughes decided he was going to dedicate his life to nutrition and helping people lose weight in a safe and natural way. And he was one of the first people that got in on the whole concept of herbs and proteins and vitamins and everything. And what we have up here is a line of nutritional products. And rather than taking up all the time of the meeting and telling you everything about the products, why don't we just hear about some of the people who have been using them. So let's have everybody in the room that's lost 5 kilos or more stand up. Great. Okay, that was not very exciting. I was hoping that this would be a little bit more exciting than your average Amway meeting. Okay, so we got to rev it up. So let's sit down again. We're going to try it over. Remember that your guests have only got the ability of getting 25% as excited about this as you do. So if we stand everybody up and you're going, your guest, you know what's happening with them. You know? No, we need to be excited about what's going on, okay? So and rather than saying everything about the product here, let's just hear from the people that have lost weight on the product. So everybody that's lost 5 kilos or more, let's stand up. Whoa! Woo! Look at this! Unbelievable! Oh, this is great. Okay, let's go 10 kilos or more. Keep standing. Wow. Look at this. Okay, 15 kilos. Keep standing. Wow. This is amazing. 20 kilos or more. Wow. 25 kilos! Come on! No. Isn't that more exciting than... You see? And when you're doing your opportunity meeting, everything needs to build. 5 pounds needs to be unbelievable. 10 pounds needs to be screaming and clapping and going crazy. 15 pounds, everybody's just, the whole place is, at 20 kilos, everybody's unbelievable, okay? You see, it builds as it goes. Okay, then you basically do the same thing with the incomes. The only thing that you want to make sure is that what you do is when you're doing your op meeting, you know, you want to stop at a low enough figure, okay, probably 3 or 4 million won, okay, so that you can fill the stage up over here with a long line of people, okay, and stack the 3 million won people up at the front and have 5 or 6 of those go by, okay, because it's important not to just end up with the top guys. Because the people that are there for the first time, they're not going to be able to relate to the millionaires. What they're going to be able to relate to is those people that are making part-time money of $3,000 or $4,000. Unbelievable! This is incredible. Okay, or they quit their jobs and so on. Okay, so you stack the front of the room with a few 3 or 4 million wands, and then you say, okay, now we can't hear from everybody, so let's go 5 million, 6 million, 10 million. Now you take a couple of the 10 millions, okay, and you get that out of the way, and then you say, okay, let's go up to 15 million, 20 million, and you end up with the big president's team guys at the end, okay? Very important. You want the small incomes, the middle incomes, and then the big, huge ones at the end, okay? That way you get everybody in the room, okay? That way you'll have had all the backgrounds, all the different kind of incomes, all the different kind of personalities, all the different kind of situations, okay, so that you affect the whole room, okay, because the whole room is not going to get it by one person. The more eyes, the more mouths, the better. Okay? A person that's given the op meeting just there to instruct people to come up on the stage and give the meeting. Now, while we're talking about the opportunity meetings, write this down. Your story is worth a fortune. And you need how to learn how to tell your testimonial. Okay? Your testimonial always needs to be your name. Make sure that you tell that background. A lot of times people get so excited, okay, that they just say their name and they'll say how much weight they lost, and then they forget about the money and they forget about what kind of business they were in, okay? We got to get it all in there, because if you're a housewife, it's extremely important that you say housewife, because there's 50 other housewives out there that can relate to you. If you're a doctor, it's important you say a doctor, because there's maybe 2 or 3 more doctors in the audience. So we need to say our name, our background, what happened to us on the product, and then it's always good if you've got like a first month's income and then last month's income. That lets them know that, hey, you know, if they're just brand, because that's not so much for the new guy sitting in the chair, but it's for also the guys that have been in the company a couple of months. That gives them the confidence, hey, you know, I don't feel so bad that I only made 100,000 won my first month, because maybe it'll be 500 like them, and then maybe $1 million next month, okay? Because remember, when you're doing your opportunity meetings, you're selling your guests, you're selling your distributors, and you're selling yourself. You know what I mean? Because when you're doing it, you've got to be up there believing in what you're saying. So your story is worth a fortune. Now, what's important about your story is you can always do things very slow in Herbalife, okay? But the faster the story is, the more quickly people will be attracted to being around you and the business. In other words, let's say your story is, I used to milk cows, okay? And I got onto the products and I needed to lose 50 kilos, okay? And I've now lost those 50 kilos after 3 years. And I feel really, really excited about it, because my first month's income was 100,000 won, and now after 3 years here, I'm up to 1 million won. Okay? Now, could you recruit somebody with that story? Yeah, you could do it. You'd probably have to have the Herbalife journal with you, though, to say, listen, you know, I didn't have such great results, but let me tell you, a lot of other people have had great results, and they go through the journal and show them the stories, and then when you get the President's Team journal, you even show them more stories, and you say, so, you know, I was pretty lazy about the deal, to be perfectly honest with you, but maybe you want to do it fast like some of these other guys, and you show them the stories, and that's a way of getting them in. Okay? Now, I didn't have that luxury when I got in, because I was what everybody was looking at. So I had to have everything happen great to me. I had to have the most guests at the meeting. I had to sign up the most people at the meeting. I had to break the most supervisors. I had to have the biggest volume of the month. I had to have the biggest check of everybody, because I was the testimonial that was building the company. Okay? I had to have my weight perfect. I had to have everything done perfectly, because that was what set the standard for what people would look at for how they would go. But if your story is, hey, I used to milk cows for a living, and I used to be fat, and I had 35 kilos that I needed to lose, and I lost that kilos in 2 months. It was just absolutely incredible. And the first month I made 100,000 won in the company, and I've been in the company now for 3 years, and last month the company paid me 240,000 US dollars. Now, do you think you could recruit someone with that story? Of course. See, fast is better. Okay? Fast is better. Now, it doesn't, this is obviously the Kim story. This is a remarkable story. There's only a few people in the company that have this kind of story, okay? So it doesn't need to be this dramatic, okay? All I'm saying is that you have to be responsible for, when you start saying that the company's unbelievable, you got to start becoming unbelievable, okay? When you say these products are magnificent, you got to start taking the products so you look magnificent, okay? In other words, if you started out and you needed to lose 50 kilos and you lost 25 kilos and you've been 25 kilos overweight for the last year, you got a big problem on your hand. Because as you go back to your customers and you're trying to tell them, keep using the products, keep using the products, keep using the products, but you're the same 25 pounds overweight that you've been for the last year, do you think you're going to get very many reorders? No. And guess what happens? You start to not get button hits. Everything starts to become gloom and doom. But I guarantee you, you take that same person that needs to lose that last 25 pounds and you get them to lose 10 pounds this next week, and I'll guarantee you, you'll see a new person. They'll have all of a sudden lots of new customers. They'll get back to all their old customers and get them back onto the product. Everything will start seeming magical. And it's the same thing with the business. If you're going to say this is the most outrageous business opportunity that's ever been put together, I'm going to get rich, you're going to get rich, then you got to match the pitch with your check. And that doesn't mean it has to go from 0 to $2 million in a couple of years. All it means is you got to start making some progress every month. Let's go 100,000 won the first month, and let's go 500,000, and then let's go to $1 million, and then maybe it's $1.5 million, and then maybe it goes to 2 million, and then maybe it goes to 2.5, and et cetera, et cetera. So that as you're telling the story, okay, that this is unbelievable, and we're going to get to the top, and it's just absolutely a miracle, and you look like the pitch, okay, your face is smooth from the skincare products, your weight is in order, okay, and then your check starts to match the presentation, okay, because what your people look at is they look at you, okay. Yeah, they're going to look at those stories in the journal, okay, but if they're looking at you and you are on the move, you see, people like going around people that are on the move. They want to be people that are happening. And if you're happening, your people will be happening. You see what I'm saying? And so if you're going fast and you're happening and you're bringing lots of people down to the meeting, then they're bringing people down to the meeting. And that means they're breaking supervisors and everything's starting to go. And if your check's going on the rise, now all of a sudden you got new clothes. You got new clothes, your people get excited. Then they start working hard enough, then they get new clothes. I saw this happen with me. It was just amazing. I remember we're like in business like 5 months, right? And the picture I showed earlier, that was my only suit that I had, right? And after 5 months, I was able to get a black velvet jacket, okay? I never forget this, right? And it was just, we looked like some kind of weird outfit back then because everybody in Herbalife had a black velvet jacket, right? It was like our uniform, right? It was unbelievable. Black velvet jacket and red tie, right? And the little black pants, okay? And but then I got that and my people got that. I got my very first car. I was driving around in a purple Toyota when I started the company. I had no taste. Who would get a purple Toyota? You know what I'm saying? Any kind of Toyota, but not purple, you know what I mean? And anyway, after about 8 months or so, I was able to get my first Cadillac. Now, I'll never forget driving that up to the office, man, and getting all my team. I said, Jerry and Doug and Hal, come on out here. You got to see this new car, man. And I put them in the front seat, and I said, get behind the steering wheel, and, you know, and play with it and toot the horn, baby. I said, we're all going to get rich. You guys are going to be having these cars. And a few months from then, they were getting Cadillacs. Then I remember I got my very first Rolls Royce. Oh, man. Oh, it was something. I never forget it, man. It was just so cool because, you know, for those of you who don't know my story, I sponsored 196 people first line in 6 months. 16 of those become supervisors. 10 of them ended up on the president's team. And I made $96,000 my first year, $500,000 my second year, almost $2 million the third year. And then after that, it got just unbelievable, okay? But by 25 years old, I was driving around with my brand new Rolls Royce. Man, it was just unbelievable. And then, you know, pretty soon my people started getting Mercedes Benzes. And then I remember I got my first little condominium, and then they started getting condominiums. And I got my first house, and then they started getting their houses. And then I got my first mansion, and some of my people started getting their mansions and stuff. See, so as the more you go, the more your people go. You know what I'm saying? And I never forget, and this happens all the time. It never stops. It never stops, okay? And I'll never forget, I dragged all my Chairman's Club members onto my yacht here back in a few months ago, and we went to Hotel du Cap. And John Peterson was on the boat there, and he says, he's looking at my helicopter that's on the back of the boat. There's only one helicopter like the one I've got, 600 Boeing. And he's looking at the helicopter, and I said, so what are you staring at the helicopter so much about, John? He says, oh man, I would love to have one of these helicopters. I said, well, John, get into my helicopter. Okay, I said, get into the seat in there and see what it feels like. And I put my captain in there to give him a big ride. And I said, now listen, you give John a real good ride, man, because he's in for getting himself a helicopter. Anyway, he got off the boat, and next thing you know, a week from then, he got his brand new helicopter. Okay? So it's been very interesting because see, you guys look at me different than my people did in the beginning. You know, you're all rushing up here and you want the autographs and the this and that. You don't see me like Jerry does when we were back there in the beginning when I only had my one suit to my name and nobody was asking for autographs, and we had to hold up a laugh sign and clap sign at the meetings to get everybody going. And you know, I was driving around in my ugly Toyota, and she saw me there making up the first orders for the customers and the first orders for my distributors and stuff like that. And we kind of all grew together, you know what I'm saying? And that's what can happen with you and your team. And just realize, okay, that you don't have to be this to be successful, but the more you can be the leader of the team by bringing the most amount of people to the meeting, by signing up the most people, by getting the most supervisors, by getting the most people on the product, by looking the most best that you possibly can on your face and your weight and stuff like that. The more that people know you're on the move, the more people that will want to follow you. Okay? So if it's happening fast for you, it starts to happen fast for some of your people because they want to become like you. And trust me, they're looking at you guys a lot more than they're looking at me. Okay? So your story is worth a fortune. And of course, building it fast is better than slow. That doesn't mean that there's a problem with you becoming a president's team member 17 years from now. 2 months ago, there was people that got in 17 years ago and just got onto the president's team. Is that great? Yes! Of course it's great. Of course it's great because what it did was it gave the people that have been hanging around for 17 years that are only on the get team some confidence about maybe they'll get to the president's team. So we use all the stories. I'm just trying to say fast is better than slow. Now, let me talk to you about what do we do with our distributors once we get them in the company. Because far too often a person makes the mistake of, okay, you've signed up, here's the meetings, bring everybody down, and we'll recruit them all in the company for you, and the checks will start coming in the mail. Will that work? Yeah. I know lots of people that's what they do, okay? But see, me personally, I like to have a little bit more control over the situation, okay, to make the person go fast. See, it's not that you can't just say, come to the meeting, bring the people, the check will be in the mail, okay? That'll work, okay? But the question is, how good does it work, how fast does it work, and how much success do your people have quickly? So what I like to do is this. I'm sponsoring my 10 people a month until I get 2 hot people. Now, if for some reason it takes you 15 people to get 2 hot people, get 15. If it only takes you 5 people to get two, get 5, okay? And the only reason I'm kind of keying in on 2 hot people, it's just a little bit difficult if you want some quality to try to do 4 and 5 people at a time and stuff like that. It's not that it's impossible, but if you're really trying to build these people to make certain that they're self-sufficient, so you don't really have to do a lot with them anymore, you really want to do a lot with them and spend some time, okay? And here's what I do, okay? Now the opportunity meeting, now by the way, what I'm going to explain to you right now, there's a couple of big things I've explained to you that are important. Number 1, the products were the most important for me in my success. Number 2 was keeping everything fun, simple, easy, magical, okay? The next one was sticking to the plan of daily method of operation of getting 10 in the business. This next one is one of my biggest key points of my success. So listen into this. I know we've been here a while and we're getting close to the end of the day, but this is one of my biggest things that made me so successful, okay? I was always very concerned with how good my people have done and how good they do. And that just didn't happen from the first month. That's still happening today, okay? But I was very concerned the very first 72 hours. Now, this is not something, a miracle about that number, but here's the reason why that amount of time is so important. They just got done with the opportunity meeting. And remember, you stacked the first 8 or 10 testimonials with the $3,000 housewife, truck driver, auto mechanic stories, okay? And now your person sitting out there goes, wow, if that housewife can make $3,000, maybe I can make $3,000, okay? Now, when they get home and they start to explain this to their spouse, guess what happens? The spouse is either very excited or extremely negative, okay? And starts putting that little housewife down, bad housewife, crazy woman, lunatic with powders and tablets, okay? So that's where the sponsor comes in, okay? And so what I do is immediately the next day we're going to meet and we're going to go to the career book and we're going to make up who do you know of everybody that wants to get on the products and who do you know of everybody that wants to get out to the business. So the first thing I do is I tell this person what they're supposed to do, which is to make up the list. Then the next thing I go out and do is I show them how to do the presentations. So for instance with Jerry, I said, now Jerry, who are these out of these people do you want to get on the products? And they said, well, these people here. And I said, well, who do you want to get on the business? They said, these people here. I said, okay, Jerry, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some time out of my day to make some of these presentations for you. Okay, write that down. I'm going to do the presentations for you. You can't believe how much relieved Jerry was from me saying that, okay? She was excited about the business, she wanted to do the business, but yet she had never done anything like this, so she was scared to death, okay? So when I said I would do some of these presentations for her, it was like, whew, wow, he's going to help me out here, okay? Now I said, now why I'm doing these presentations, Jerry, the important thing is, you better listen to what I say, because after 4 or 5 of these, I'm going to make you do a part of the presentation on your own. I'll do a part, then you do a part. And then we'll keep doing that until you know how to do it on your own. So what me and Jerry did is we went out there and we started talking to people. And the first couple of customers, I did all the presentations. And just fortunately, those people got onto the products and she got real excited. Then I said, okay, Jerry, on these next set of, we had a party plan that we did that next night, and I said, Jerry, this next part, you're going to discuss about the products and how to take them. I'm going to talk a little bit about the nutritional value of them, and I'm going to tell a story of 16-pound weight loss, because she didn't have weight loss yet. It was her second day in the company, okay? Then we started going for the recruiting, okay? And I did a couple of presentations with the recruiting. After a couple of presentations with the recruiting, I said, okay, on these next presentations, Jerry, you're going to do the products, I'm going to do the marketing plan. We did 5 or 6 of those. After that, I said, I'm going to do the products, you're going to do the marketing plan, and we did 5 or 6 of those. Then after that, I said, Jerry, you got to do it on your own. I'll just sit by on the sidelines and be there for the testimonial and so on. Because here's what you want your people to do. You want to tell them what to do, then you want to go show them how to do it by helping them out. Then you want them to try it, and they're not going to do it perfect when they try it the first time. And after they mess it all up, okay, here's what you got to do. Okay, this is very important. Write this down. You did great, no matter how bad they did. Listen, Jerry, you did just great, okay? But I just want to tell you a couple of things of why I do what I do, because when you do it this way, it works better. But don't worry, man, you're doing great. It's just unbelievable. This next presentation is going to be better. Now let's do it again. She does it again. Now she's only got a few things she's messed up. And I said, Jerry, that was just really unbelievable. Man, I can't believe you increased by 50% how good you were. That's better than the average person. Now just change this and change that, and it's even going to be better. The next time she does it perfect. The next time she signs someone up. The next time she signs up another person. I say, now Jerry, you're on your own. You now know how to do the presentation. You know how to get people involved in the business. You know how to get people into the company. And you want to go through all those steps so that you have someone that does it on their own. Now, while you're doing this, okay, here's something that's very important. This is you. When I'm working with my distributor, I want to go down line, okay, and work with my different levels, okay? I want to work down line with my different levels, okay? So let's take this, for instance, as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels, okay? And the reason I like to work down line like this is that if I have people down here on the bottom successful and they're doing volume, let's say this person down here is doing 3,000 volume, then number 5 has to do 2,500 points a month just to get their royalties. And number 4 has to do 2,500 just to get their royalties on that person. And number 3 has to do 2,500 so that they can get their royalties. And number 2 has to do 2,500 so they can get their royalties. And then your first line's got to do 2,500 so they can get their royalties. And so the exciting thing about this is when you sponsor first line, okay, and I know that's where you're primarily getting everything, but I like to secondary sponsor, third sponsor, fourth sponsor, fifth sponsor, so that I have a whole line of people that are doing the business, that are producing volume, because that means that if your 4th, 5th, and 6th level is producing volume, your 1st, 2nd, 3rd has to do volume. And that's what builds your royalty override check. Okay? You've got a well-trained group all the way down with everybody producing, and that means your 3 levels are going to have to produce. The worst thing that could happen is these people drop out and this one comes up. Okay? So this is just an unbelievable thing where you can have your first 3 levels producing, and you start doing that wide, and pretty soon you'll be on the GET team, pretty soon you'll be on the millionaire team, pretty soon you'll be on the president's team. Okay, we've talked about a lot of things, okay, but the most important things, in my opinion, is that the products are the most important, no question about it. If you always keep the attention that the products are the most important, it does a lot of things, okay? One is, it is the reason why we're becoming so successful. I used to do other things before Herbalife, okay? And I was very good at the things that I did. But I didn't have Herbalife products, okay? And I didn't have the Herbalife marketing plan, okay? So for me, this has been very different than what I used to do, okay? And because the products I was involved in were good, but they weren't near as good as what I had in Herbalife. The marketing plan was okay, but it wasn't anything like our marketing plan. So I really appreciate, okay, the products and the marketing plan and what it does. If you keep the focus that the product is the attention, and that's why we're doing also good, your ego won't get completely out of control, okay? And that's a good thing to have happen. It's great to have a good ego, but it's not so good that you get so caught up with yourself, okay, that it just runs totally out of control and you're the star of the show and nobody can relate to you and you're not bringing more people up and you're not getting as many eyes to see. And we can't forget the fact that there's a whole lot of things that are making this Herbalife thing happen, okay? Between the products and between the marketing plan and between the way our people have such just an absolute mission of where they want to go with this company. The fact that we're in lots of businesses and lots of countries has something to do with it. It has something to do with the dedication of our employees. It's amazing the way some of our people work. You could never have this happen where, like here in Korea, where the employees have stayed up for 24 hours and 36 hours at a time to make sure that the orders get processed. And back at the home office, we got a rule that never can a payment to a distributor go out over time, you know, and sometimes the orders are late and the computers are got to run, but Bruce and his guys keep those guys in there sometimes 26, 36, 48 hours because we got a rule that checks got to go out on time. So you got to give a lot of loyalty, okay, to yourself, okay, no question about it. I'm not trying to take away from anybody. You guys are working hard like crazy. You're doing an amazing job, but at the same time, we got to give a lot of loyalty to the company, okay, for what it's doing, for its commitment, for its loyalty to what you guys are doing and what we're trying to get accomplished. And if we don't forget that, we can get off track. I want to talk about real quickly the job of a sponsor. It's your job to help the person along, to help them start their business, and to push them more than they would push themselves, and to give them confidence that this is going to work. Because I'm telling you something, there's so many people after they leave our meeting that give negativity to some of our people, okay? That tell them you're crazy for doing this. I can't believe you've been a pharmacist and now you're selling powders and pills for some ridiculous company called Herbalife. And there's lots of people that are more than ready and willing to be negative to the people that are all jacked up at the meeting, and then they get home to get nothing but beat up by their relatives until their check gets up there. And that's why you guys as sponsors become so important, and that's why the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday concept is so important, because you can be around people all the time, 3 times a week, that are positive, that are on their way, that are on their move to going up the ladder to the Herbalife Stepway. And so I hope you take that, my little analysis way of saying it here, as a way of taking your distributors and making them feel good and making them do more than they can believe in themselves. And I'll tell you, if you can just get this concept, and it's hard to get, if you care more about your distributors making money than you're making money yourself, you're on your way. Because if your people make money, you're guaranteed to get rich. And that's how I've always operated my business. Everything I can think of, every night and day, to make you guys money is what I'm thinking about. All the time. So listen, I've just had an incredible time here coming to Korea, and you know, in closing here today, I'd just like to say that the last couple of words. Over all the things that we've taught you, the most important thing that I could say is, if you keep to the plan that we've talked about here of keeping the business simple and keeping the product simple, using mostly the testimonials. Keeping your opportunity meetings simple, keeping the business part of it simple, and doing 10 people a day to get 2 people to work down line with them. Help your people, just don't leave them alone, send them off to the meetings. Those are the most important thing. Besides that, it's going to be consistency, doing this day after day after day, okay? You're going to have some good days, and you're going to have some unbelievable days, okay? And going through the bad days are just as important as going through the good days, okay? It makes you a stronger person. It makes you more of a better person to get through the times that are rough in your life, not just with Herbalife, but your own personal life. And the last thing is just having faith in the company. Have faith in yourself, have faith in the products, have faith in us, because we're going to do the most unbelievable things you've ever seen in business history, okay? And the way I kind of see Herbalife someday in the future, okay, is kind of like, if you could imagine coffee and tea, okay, of hundreds and hundreds of years ago, okay? Nobody really thought coffee was going to be that big a deal and stuff like that. But today, what's the deal, okay? Even if you don't drink coffee, you have to have coffee in your house. And the reason you have to have coffee in your house is you want to be a good host, so that when people come over and say, well, what would you like to drink? They would say, well, I'd like to have some coffee. And it's kind of the way I see Herbalife. We're not that big yet. But someday when we get huge, you have to have Herbalife in your house. Because you have to be a proper host, right? They might say, well, I want an Herbalife shake. And you'll have to have the product in your house, whether you're taking it or not. That'd be incredible. So it's just been an incredible day of training, and we want all of you to be back at the home office. And when you go through the home office, there's no question we're going to drag you from the GIT team to the millionaire team to the president's team. And as fast as you guys are growing, okay, everybody in the entire stadium could be on the president's team. Well, now wouldn't that be amazing, okay? Of everybody, the whole stadium, all the way in the back of the room, everybody became president's team members. We're going to get rich! Listen, I hope you guys have had a great time. Let's make this world a better place with